영상의 구성은 다음과 같습니다. 그럼 한번 시작해 볼까요?
It can be kind of a litmus test, like, okay, if I emphasize these three things. It can be kind of a litmus test, like, okay, if I emphasize these three things. It can be kind of a litmus test, like, okay, if I emphasize these three things. It can be kind of a litmus test, like, okay, if I emphasize these three things. I'm going to read the whole sentence instead of just this excerpt. It can be kind of a litmus test, like, okay, if I emphasize these three things, whether they move me forward or not in the next round, that's going to tell me whether I'm on the right track or not for me.
Oh, that's a long sentence.
It's a very long sentence, which is why I think what we want to take a look at is the phrase or expression litmus test. And I feel like just what's on the slide here captures enough of the meaning to be able to go over it.
Right.
Well, right?
Can I interrupt you really quick?
Of course.
So you said in the beginning, you like get this sentence from this is a excerpt, and then I don't know what
Excerpt.
excerpt. What does that mean?
Oh, I wonder when I said it, I said, oh, perhaps I should explain that word. So an excerpt is a portion of. So
Okay.
not the whole, like this is not the whole sentence. It's just a part of it. It's an excerpt,
Gotcha.
something kind of cut out from that longer sentence.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Please feel free to ask when you have questions. All right. No need to wait. So before we talk about what litmus test means, I thought it might be helpful if I showed you its pronunciation. Test, I'm sure, is fine, but litmus. So here's how it is pronounced: litmus, and then with the emphasis on that first syllable. So can you try that word for me? Litmus.
Litmus.
Yep, you got it. That's really good. So, okay. Have you heard of a litmus test?
I have actually, in like I don't know whether elementary school, high school, like middle school, we
Right.
from the chemistry class,
Yep.
we used litmus paper to test acidity.
Yep,
I don't know, something like this. It's
exactly.
been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, it's been a long time for me too, but when I saw this word, these two words, litmus test, that's what it brought back memories of for me too, was high school and college chemistry classes. So,
Gotcha.
right, where you do take this little strip of paper that's called litmus paper and you put it into a solution and it is going to do a test for you, like you said, of acid or base. And so what's happening there is that test is helping determine a result. Would you agree with that?
I guess so. Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
long time.
Well, yeah, because you're just sticking that paper in and the result you're going to get is it acid or is it base? So it's kind of predicting or telling you what that solution is.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
from that can come the definition of litmus test, because it's kind of like that. It's an indicator of, in a situation, of future success or failure. So similar to the litmus test or the litmus paper used for the litmus test.
Gotcha.
So now that you know how to pronounce the word and what it means, would you read the phrase for me on the slide?
Yeah, of course. The sentence, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It can be a kind of litmus test, like, okay, if I emphasize these three things.
Right. Okay. So what the speaker was saying is that was going to be a kind of a test for her to indicate the future success or failure of her mentioning or emphasizing these three things about her that she wanted to bring up in the job interview.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
So do you think it's okay to just use test instead of litmus test in this sentence? Or I don't know.
Yes,
To
it would
me,
be okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but I think it's a more sophisticated use of English if you say litmus test.
Okay.
Right? Because that wouldn't be as common of an expression or a phrase for some even native speakers. So if you said that to me as litmus test instead of test, I would be like, oh, this guy really knows his English and knows his expressions.
This guy took the chemistry class in high school or something.
And whether he failed or not, he knew what the litmus test was.
Exactly.
Whether it was an acid or a base, right? Here's another sentence using litmus test. The survey was a litmus test as to how the political candidate would do in the election. All right. So if you put out some survey and you see what are the results of that, that could be an indicator that this candidate may or may not be successful in an upcoming election, for example.
That's a really good sentence.
Thank you. I wrote that one all by myself. Will you read it for me?
Yeah, sure. The survey was a litmus test as to how the political candidate would do in the election.
Yeah, good. Say litmus again.
Litmus.
There you go. It was more clear in that second time that you used it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so here's some synonyms, words that mean the same as litmus test. And actually, I almost put the word test in there, but I thought, no, that seems too repetitive. But you could say confirmation, proof, measure. You know, this is kind of a measure of, if I emphasize these three things, will that be successful? This is a confirmation, because I would guess that with most litmus tests used, I would say figuratively, because it's not a strip of paper, that you're hoping for success.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you feel? I mean, you kind of knew the phrase anyway because of chemistry. What do you think about the figurative version of it? Do you think you feel any questions? You feel ready to try a sentence of your own?
I just came up with a sentence.
Excellent. Let me hear it.
So how about this? The success of ChatGPT is a litmus test for AI.
Okay, that's above my head technologically, but I think the general meaning is a good use of litmus test.
It is,
so,
yes.
Because you know way more about technology than I do.